Hello and welcome to USA Global TV, home of talking heads. And a big shout out to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio out of New York. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is The Power of Etiquette and Manners. Joining me is my friend and co-host and the principal of the British School of Excellence. Let us welcome Mr. Philip Sykes. Hi, Philip.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. Wonderful to see you, and to all of the wonderful people and yourself, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. And happy Thanksgiving to you and to everyone. We have things to be grateful for every day for sure.
100%. Love that. Thanks for just being alive and healthy is one thing. That's for sure. You woke up today. You were able to put both feet on the floor.
Yes, that is true. And it is an absolutely gorgeous day here. And I'm excited for our show. I know you brought a wonderful guest. And I wanted to have a chat before we bring her out just about something that's been coming up when it comes to manners and etiquette. And I think that's situational awareness of how to behave in the public domain. And I just wonder what your thoughts are about that, Philip.
Where do I start? It's something that I feel, and this is through observation. This is not a criticism. This is not pointing a finger at anyone in particular. But I've just noticed of late that people really have sort of forgotten about to be that word, situationally aware, what's going on around them. So for those wonderful people listening in and watching the show, Dr. Jacalyn and I were backstage just talking about this, and I shared an experience I had recently. I went through into London, and I had this time last Friday my first face-to-face coaching session with an amazing young lady, and I was catching the train home, and I obviously got to go up an escalator to get to the main train station. And as I got to the top of the escalator, a person got off the escalator and literally just stopped and got onto their telephone. And literally, I had to say, "Would you excuse me, please?" There was no situational awareness, and things such as people talking at the top of their voices on their telephones, people not adhering to signs and listening and taking things on board. You know, we look at etiquette and manners really as the guiding principles in life. They're there. They're like traffic lights. They're there so that we don't bang into each other. They're not there to inconvenience us. So when you take on the power of etiquette and manners, and that's obviously very strong with your emotional intelligence, your EQ, your situational awareness is part of this. Everything we do, we should be having our little antennae polished and moving around and knowing what's going on around us, and be, you know, in that mindset of helping people and looking out for other people and really adhering to the rules and regulation of engagement in life and society. In that way, I can assure every single person out there that our lives would be a lot more dynamic and a lot more easy to navigate through. That's for sure.
Really good points, Phil. Thank you so much. And I know we were chatting about different experiences that we each have had in public. For example, you're in line, or as they say in New York, you're online, and you're waiting to do something, pay something for something, and the person behind you is on their phone, and they've got it on speaker at full blast, and you can hear all their personal information. And it's just shocking to me that people are not more aware of this.
It's frightening. And the other day, someone was sharing their credit card details when they were I mean, I say the other day, this was before the pandemic, but literally on the train, in 2019, every single detail down to the last 3 digits on the back of the phone, on his card, and his address. I mean, if anyone was recording that, they would be, able to create fraud. So we do need to be very aware, and there's no need for us to be talking at the top of our voices on our telephones. That microphone on our phones is very powerful, and I'm a big believer in, is it convenient to take the call where I am right now, or can it wait? Things like that. I mean, we can obviously dig up a huge mountain out of this, but absolutely, it is so important that we become more situationally aware.
I'm definitely in agreement with you. And I'd love for you to share a little bit about the offerings that you have at the British School of Excellence.
Certainly. So as an organization, for those of you who are familiar with the brand of the British School of Etiquette, we've now pivoted into this amazing organization where we really do focus on personal and human development in literally those words. And this is a breakdown in ages. We start with our Kiddie Kit program, which is youngsters from the age of roughly 6 to 12. We then move into the mindset and manners for our teenagers. The next one for teenagers, mindset and motivation, and then mindset and money for the teenagers. We then have courses and programs such as the Polished Professional. So if you want to get ahead in life with your business, whether you're running your own business, you're employed, you're thinking of starting a business, anything to do with your personal professional development, the Polished Professional program is outstanding. We touch a little bit on emotional intelligence in there, but we really, really urge you to take a look at our EQ platform. We have the most dynamic person who some of you may already have met through the Dr. Jacalyn show, Richard Cullinan. He heads up our incredible EQ department, and he's got these amazing programs which are literally life-changing. We then move into such things as Train the Trainer, and our guest today is an incredible woman who actually has gone through our Train the Trainer program, and we'll make that introduction shortly. We then focus on business excellence programs such as growing your business, developing your business, sales, presentation skills, body language. We then delve into image and styling. How are you showing up each day? What do you look like? Are you making that effort to look the part? Are you carrying your brand? So those are just touching the surface on some of the courses and programs that we focus on.
Well, you're doing excellent work there, and it's been a pleasure working with Richard also, and I'm excited for the introduction to Laureen.
Excellent. Let's bring Laureen in.
Hi, Laureen. Welcome.
Hi. Lovely to be here.
Where are you joining us from today, Laureen?
I'm joining you from home, which is the beautiful island of Bermuda.
Oh, how dreamy and lovely.
Yes, thank you. It's a beautiful place to live.
It really is. Laureen, lovely to see you. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, Dr. Jacalyn, I've had the privilege of knowing Laureen for just over 2 years. I walked through the door. Actually, it's longer than 2 years. It's almost 2.5, 3 years. Walked through the door at the British School of Etiquette and came through our Train the Trainer program. And Laureen's had the most incredible career in the insurance industry. And I'm sure Lorene will share a little bit about her journey, but came from the insurance industry, 10 years of hard graft and hard work here in the United Kingdom, with the vision of going back to Bermuda to really instill some unbelievable coaching and guidance and offering the people of Bermuda an amazing and the surrounds of Bermuda, these amazing opportunities to learn to put their best foot forward. And so we sort of chatted through a few things over a period of time, and then Lorene announced that she wanted to become, the partner and the representative out in Bermuda of the organization, which has thrilled me no end. And we've done some incredible work in a very short space of time.
Congratulations, Lorene. That's exciting.
Yes, it is. And I'm so happy to see it come to fruition. I will tell you that when I selected, I'm not sure if I told Philip the story, but I was watching a documentary when I was living in London, and it was a documentary that was following the interview process of very high-performing graduate students in the United Kingdom. And it followed their journey as they interviewed for various jobs throughout the United Kingdom. And more importantly, it highlighted some of the areas in which the applicants that were not successful, what were some of the things that were holding them back? And what became apparent was that it was their soft skills, these etiquette skills that Philip so nicely mentioned earlier. And I decided right there and then that I needed to get involved, because what was common was that the individuals that were identified as lacking these soft skills were actually minorities and underrepresented individuals. And that was really connected with me. And so I wanted to be a part of the solution. So I went online and I typed in etiquette school, and the British School of Etiquette came up, and I reached out to Philip, caught the train to London. We had a face-to-face meeting, and I told Philip right there and then that I wanted to do exactly what he's doing in Bermuda. And I'm so excited that that is now a reality.
I love the fact that you basically took the bull by the horns and made things happen. That is fantastic. You're a go-getter.
Yes. Yes, it was just something that as an insurance executive, as a minority, as a female, a Black female in a white male dominated industry, I know firsthand that these soft skills are incredibly invaluable in terms of not just developing your career, but being able to sustain your career at a high level. And I just don't believe that there is much discussion around that. I think so many times management or HR may be uncomfortable to deal with some of these growth areas. And so I wanted to be able to have these conversations in a really empowering way, and to introduce and to increase the awareness around these soft skills. I think universities are doing a great job in terms of equipping students with the hard skills that are necessary to do their jobs, but it's the soft skills that are really going to set you apart. And the pandemic has really highlighted that the soft skills are what the differentiators are. Your ability to collaborate, your ability to stand out, your ability to have presence, whether that is in person or virtually. We can talk about virtual etiquette even later, but these things are very important, and it sets you apart, and it leaves an amazing impression on the people that you're in relationship with. And it just sets a beautiful tone for who you are, and it sets you up nicely to move throughout an organization, and to just be, to develop a life and a relationship that is one that you can be proud of.
Lots of great content there. And so if we start peeling that back a little bit,
Sure.
the virtual skills, I think, are something that everybody needs to be aware of. So I'm going to defer to you and Philip to just lead us through some of that, if you would.
Okay.
I'm gonna let Lorene actually take.
Okay. Yeah, I'll jump in. You know, yesterday I actually delivered a presentation to a group of early careerists and mid-level careerists around virtual executive presence. And to be quite honest with you, what I was actually talking about was your soft skills on screen. So Philip alluded earlier to your nonverbal presentation on screen. 55% of our body language is nonverbal. So for example, if your screen is off, you're giving up 55% of your essence and of who you are, and you're losing that presence. We talked a little bit about making sure that you select a background that is professional, making sure that your name is correct on your online platform, that it doesn't have the name of your child or your daughter or your pet, making sure that your appearance is suitable for your organization, arriving 10 to 15 minutes early so that you are present and fully engaged, making sure that you're listening attentively and not being easily distracted. These are some of the skill sets that will set you apart in this post-pandemic world. And for individuals who may have started their career in a remote environment over the last 2 years, they really just slid into a chair and just showed up on screen. And so I think that we sometimes need to slow down, and we need to go through the basics of appearance, of presence, knowing your platform, knowing your tools on your platform, how to present online and what that looks like. These are the new norm. This is the way that we're going to function in this hybrid work environment. How do you get your point across online? How do you use your mute button? How do you use the chat feature? How do you make sure, if you're hosting a meeting, that everyone is included and feel included and belonged and inclusive in the meeting? There are just so many nuggets and so many things that have to be addressed. And, you know, they seem like simple things, to be quite honest with you, but we know that common sense is not always common practice. And so by just walking individuals through these skill sets, we remind them that the way they show up on screen does matter, and those skill sets can carry nicely into a face-to-face or in-person environment as well.
Amazing points that you just made there. And I can see why your courses are so powerful and why people should be signing up as quickly as possible. So Laureen and Philip, one thing that I just wanted to discuss, because I find this happens on a regular basis on meetings that are online, people have the cameras off. And and I find myself thinking, I wonder what they're doing. And now you're not actually paying attention as much as you should, because it's like, why do I have my camera on, but they don't? So are there any good reasons why you should have the camera off, or should you excuse yourself that you can't attend the meeting? What is protocol?
You know, I believe, to be honest, the rules, I will tell you, it's really simple. The rules that applied in person are the same rules that apply if you're online. just to make it as simple as possible. So if you were in a meeting face to face, you would be in the office. You would be physically sitting there, in your chair in the office. And it's the same requirement online. There may be times where you may need to turn the camera off for personal reasons. And if that is the case, you can send the host or the person that's leading the meeting a note in the chat to let them know that you're going to be off screen because you're taking care of a personal matter where maybe could be a child or a loved one or a pet. And or before the meeting, if you know that you need to hop off for 5 or 10 minutes, to be courteous and to let the person that's having the meeting be aware of that. So it's really not that complicated when you really think of it. It's the same rules. It's just that you're online. And, being present shows respect. It shows incredible respect. And I remind my clients a lot. I said, in order to have presence, you must be present. And to be present means video on, fully engaged, and making sure that your full communication body language is available. Only 7% of our communication is content. 38% is our tone, and the 55% is nonverbal. So if you turn your camera off and you're not engaged, I just feel that is just such a easy win that you've just given up. So to give yourself a chance of succeeding, cameras on.
Good points. Thank you. And I also think that one could perceive that you're multitasking. And as we know, when you're in a face-to-face meeting, or even now, like if somebody was on their phone while we were doing this, yeah, we would feel that.
And we can tell, I think so many times people believe or they just get so comfortable with the camera that they don't realize that the camera is picking up everything. Maybe if you were in a live meeting and you're at the end of a boardroom table, they may not have noticed that you were looking down at your phone like this. But when you're on screen, it's cameras on. And some platforms have the spotlight feature. So if Philip is talking, he would come straight to the front of the screen. Or if he moves or makes some sound, he would move to advance to the front of the screen. So you're really on camera all the time. So I think the lesson is just be aware, be fully present when you are there, and treat it like an in-person meeting.
Thank you so much. I teach courses myself on listening, and I can't tell you how many times we're talking about being present and showing up and giving space for the other person, and people are on their phones during the course. And I'm thinking, okay, they're not listening to me. I'm sure they're not listening to people at home or people at work. So,
And with the multiple screens, right? We have multiple screens. I have 2 screens, and sometimes you'll see people's eyes move left to right, up and down. And I tell my clients, people do notice that. So be aware.
And I think people can notice if you're surfing while you're,
yes, absolutely. Yeah. And if you don't have my glasses, they don't reflect, but some people's glasses do reflect. And so if they are doing something else, it reflects on their glasses as well. So there are certain tells. So just be alert.
Thank you so much, Lorene. Philip, you want to jump in here?
I couldn't have put any of that any better myself. I mean, Lorene and I have been fortunate enough to run quite a few workshops talking on this particular subject matter. And, you've got to show up every single day, and you wouldn't, it's for example, would you arrive at your office in a t-shirt and a pair of sleeping shorts? No, you wouldn't. So why do you arrive at your virtual meeting in that sort of clothing? So there's a lot to be said about just what Lorene's just shared with you and what you obviously sort of added value on there, Dr. Jacalyn. It is about showing up in every mind, body, and spirit, 150% committed. Look, there are certain areas in the world that maybe it could be a little bit of a cultural thing. Then you would obviously have to take that into regard. But you know what? It's about coaxing people on. And actually, I had an experience a few months ago running our Mindset and Manners course, and for whatever reason it was, this lovely young lady wouldn't turn her camera on. And I kept sort of just encouraging and coaxing and encouraging. And on day 4, she turns her camera on. And wow, she just lit up the room. People connected with her. And I know for a fact that she got so much more from the course because she was in there actually physically. We could see her in person. So you're quite right. What was going on behind the scenes? Was she, even taking anything on board? And as you all know, just by listening, you will only take on sort of 15, 20% of what you've really just been listening to. So if you go to a lecture and you listen to the lecture, you're going to retain 10, 15, 20% of what was shared with you. But if you take a pen and paper and you really write down what is being shared with you in whatever environment. So if you're in a meeting, I'm always taking notes, just as we are today. What you're both doing, I've got my notepad here and I'm making notes because I want to learn. I want to be able to also remember what I want to share with the audience to complement maybe what Lorene is saying or what you're saying, Dr. Jacalyn. So there's so many factors here that we could really bring to light.
Yeah, Philip, I'm just going to add really quickly around etiquette. Dr. Jacalyn asked earlier. One of the things that if you're hosting a meeting is in your meeting is have an agenda. Definitely have an agenda. Again, online meetings are just the same as in person. And one of the highlight that you would like or require everyone to be on camera ahead of time so that people can be camera ready. I can't believe I'm saying camera ready. Because one of the things I tell individuals is when you get up, you're going to work. I know it's just down the hall or next door or perhaps in your room, but you are a professional and therefore you should be ready at all times. So be dressed for the day so that you can be camera ready at any time. You can be called into an impromptu meeting. So just be ready. But as an extra courtesy, if you're organizing a meeting in your invite, highlight that the video requirement is expected so that everyone is aware and they can make whatever adjustments they need to make at home to make that possible.
Yeah, definitely. Setting expectations in advance is key, I think.
Correct.
I had a meeting with someone not that long ago. It was later in the day, around 4 or 5 o'clock, and we were going to talk about collaborations. I didn't know the person. And the person said, as soon as we got onto Zoom, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were going to be all dressed up. I haven't even showered today or cleaned my room." And I thought, okay, I don't think
First impressions, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, just to reiterate actually on that point, in what we're sharing, I suppose what we're sharing here is that everything that we do in this world is about being prepared, and preparation is key. So it was I think, we've all had to learn and pivot, by the way. So people coming into this world really need to get up to speed as quickly as possible. But just as you would prepare for a normal meeting, or if you had to go and catch the train or get in your car to go somewhere, everything is about preparation. And I was running, we were working with one of our high-end luxury brands on, working on actually the art of conversation. And it was early in the morning. It was 5 in the morning here in the UK. They're quite a few hours ahead. I got down here about 50 minutes to spare, and I turned I came to this big screen I'm in front of now, and it was just white. So I'm like panicking. I'm like, oh my hat. So I reboot the computer, comes up, it's white. Now my heart is almost about to jump out of my chest, and I'm like, I've got to be prepared. This is the thing, it's about pitching up. If I walk in here today and say, "Oh, Dr. Jacalyn, I had a bad night's sleep. I hope I can perform today." No one cares. The thing is, so I had to get my laptop up on some books. I had to get my kit ready, but I had everything prepared for an incident like that. With all due respect, it's quite extraordinary because people pay to come on programs and courses, and they come on lastminute.com. Oh, my camera's not working. My microphone's not working. You should have checked that out half an hour ago.
Yes, I love that. In fact, I can relate to that. Just a quick personal share. So as you know, we went south. It drove 20 hours, got here on Wednesday, had to set up this whole broadcast studio by myself. And so I made sure that everything was working. I actually did several tests, got up early, put all the lights on, made sure that everything worked because the show's got to go on, right? So we're all preparing and showing up with our A game. And I think that's kind of the expectation, is that we want other people to do the same because it really shows a lot of mutual respect.
Absolutely. I like Philip's point about putting a laptop on books. That's we talk about etiquette. It's making sure that your camera is at the right level so that when you're looking into your camera, and it's giving the best possible view to others on the other side of the screen. So often you're in meetings and you're looking up someone's nostrils, and they have no awareness about what's going on. So, just a great suggestion is to, in just preparing for your meeting, again, log in 15 minutes early, check your camera, make sure everything is okay, you're situated correctly, you have your notepad and pen, and you're ready to go, and that you're presenting your very best self when you enter that virtual room.
Yes. And I have a follow-up question to that. So what is the etiquette, the best way to participate in an online meeting? So for example, if I'm speaking and Philip has something that he wants to come in with, and the second I stop talking, he leaps in with whatever it is he has to say, or people over talking one another. What suggestions do you have about how people can have a wonderful meeting that's productive and respectful?
I think a big part of it starts with setting the rules for the engagement, the rule of the meeting. There are some people that are extroverts that will always have a lot to say, and they will jump in immediately and don't give others a chance to respond. So I think if you're hosting, or even if you're a participant in a meeting, be aware that there are introverts as well. So you can use the chat feature, you can use the raised hand feature on your platform to allow those who may not be as eager as the extrovert, so that everyone can feel included in the meeting. I think if you're leading the meeting, just to be aware of the tools and how to use those tools to ensure that everyone is involved. If you notice that someone is talking more than others, or someone is talking less or not at all, same rules as in person. It is your responsibility to make sure that you're getting a diverse set of ideas and input. So find ways to include others. So I would say something like, please use the chat feature for those that are comfortable with the chat feature. I'll be monitoring the chat. For those who would like to share, please use the hand feature, so that way I can make sure that everyone gets a turn. So it's really just laying out the expectation and laying out the rules of engagement for the meeting to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to contribute in a way that works for them, and so that you can have diverse ideas and input.
Yes, wonderful points. And I've found that sometimes people are intimidated to jump in because certain people are dominating. I've taken some courses myself, and I found that in each case, the host actually had someone who was monitoring the chat, so that the host was running the meeting, and then the other person was able to say, "Oh, I see that Laureen has a comment. Let's go to
Yes,
Laureen."
absolutely. If you have that resource, I say use it. If you're able to have a virtual assistant or an assistant that can come in and provide the admin function. But if you're delivering something on your own, you're doing a small meeting or a meeting with your team, etc., and you don't have that support, I think there are various points you can pause in the meeting and let them know, okay, I'm going to be looking at the chat to see if there are any additional comments. So just making sure that you're mindful of the communication style and the personality style that is different for each person that's in that meeting. Philip, any thoughts?
It's being summed up beautifully. I know we could keep banging on about this, but it's so important that we do bang on about it, because it is who you are. You're putting your best foot forward. One of my favorite sort of opening lines to any of our programs, whether you're 6 years old or whether you're 70 plus years old, is note to self: I am my brand. Okay, and you've got to be the person that you would like to meet. Those are two very key ingredients when it comes to our sort of day-to-day, what's my check-in with myself? I am my brand, and I would like to be the person that I would like to meet. So it's about showing up. It's about bringing your energy and being respectful.
I have a question for both of you. These are excellent points. What is the proper etiquette of calling someone out on their dysfunctional behavior? So, for example, I shared this with Philip. I was at the gym. There's signs everywhere, no cell phone use while in the gym. And this guy is having a business meeting with the cell phone on speaker. And I was afraid to say anything to him because I didn't want any backlash. So I don't know, when do you say to somebody, hey, what you're doing is not really the most effective or most respectful, or do you just keep quiet?
That's, thank you for that example. And it shows itself up in so many ways. I mean, when I was working in the city in London, I'd be on the train and somebody would be playing their music or a podcast without any earphones at top blast, and no one would say anything. So I think the scenario that you've just given, the best thing would be just to be smart about it, is to probably talk to the person that is running the gym or whoever is in charge, and ask them to speak directly to the individual. When I had that happen to me on the train, no one else was saying anything, and I did ask the person, would they mind either using a headphone or turning the volume down, and they did. So I think it's reading the room and see if and watching the body language as well. You don't want to necessarily put yourself in a very difficult position, but I would say if there's someone else in charge, let them go over and communicate those rules and address it. I hope that helps.
Yes, thank you. Because if something starts to escalate, you don't want to be in the middle of
Correct. Correct.
Better just to walk away or move your seat if possible.
Correct.
Philip, what do you want to add?
I think there are times, going back to what Lorene was sharing about, that 7% of the spoken word, the rest is 55% body language and your tonality. And this is where, when you've got the power of etiquette and manners, you're wearing it like a superhero cloak, you can, by choice of language, so your language skills are really important, as in professional language skills. Please may I ask you just to, take the call elsewhere, because I'm whatever it might be, I'm in the gym and it does say no cell phones, and I don't think you really want anyone knowing your business. But choice of words, tonality, and that sort of thing is going to definitely help you hopefully get the message through to the people or the individuals, or the individual that is sort of disrupting the environment. And I think we as human beings, we've become a little bit nervous of approaching people, and rightly so, because you might get a what for. Hopefully they don't get physical, but you never know how it could land up. And I think this does put you on the back foot. But having said that, when you've got confidence with your etiquette and manners, you can put it in such a way that you can actually tell them to disappear and they will look forward to the journey. And you do that with confidence.
Well said. I think if I had gone up to that person and I said, hey, buddy, turn that phone off. Who do you think you are? Can't you read the sign? Or if I went over and said, hey, I'm really sorry to interrupt you, but I'm hearing all of your personal information. I don't know if that's what you want. I'm going to work out over in this other room, but I'm just letting you know we can hear what's going on.
Nice job.
Choice of words. And that is exactly it. And I think we need to be a bit more bold when it comes to these sort of scenarios, because people really have lost this self-awareness that we started talking about at the beginning of today's show. And people really, just the other day, someone was using the train compartment as his personal office, just like you were saying, Dr. Jacalyn, in the gym scenario. I mean, literally paperwork out on the chairs, and he was talking at the top of his voice, and no one wants to be involved in it. I feel completely embarrassed when I receive a call on the train, and if I've got to take it, I put my hand over my mouthpiece and I whisper, because that microphone on your telephone is so sensitive, the other person will hear you, that's for sure. So it is about being very, very aware of what's going on around you and aware of other people.
Yes, definitely. We'd love to hear comments from anyone. If you have questions, etiquette questions, we do have a couple of comments. Mr. Hyatt Ives. Hello, Hyatt. Happy day after Thanksgiving to you as well. And this came in earlier, obviously. Great point about body language and losing it by going vocal only. Okay. Thank you so much, Hyatt.
Yeah, right. It's so funny. It seems obvious, right, that you would want people to see you, but it's almost become norm that people turn their videos off. And when you're training or a group and you're looking on the screen and it's all black boxes, it can be so disconcerting. So it is a sign of respect as well to the person that is leading that meeting or leading that training, that you're there. That you're there.
So true. And over this summer, last year, I was teaching yoga online on Zoom, and a number of people would not have their cameras on. And so I just put something in the chat that would be really nice, because we're a community. We're all there to support one another. And people would write back, I don't like how I look, or I'm not in good shape. And so I just write, we're not here to judge. We're just here to lift each other up and support. So I think if we look at it that way, nobody's analyzing you in that regard. It's just about everybody coming from the same foundation of being on camera.
Yeah, and it's connection, isn't it? I mean, we've been pretty much either working from home or in a hybrid style more recently, and everyone desires connection. I haven't seen Philip since I left the UK almost 2 years ago, and I look forward to when we can see each other in person. So in the meantime, it's lovely to be able to see each other face to face, to see your expressions, and to make that human connection that is missing. And it's just a beautiful way of communicating. So I just try to remind people that, we need to stay connected, and doing business and being a professional is all about relationships. And so people need to see to whom they're speaking.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We actually had such a great discussion. I never even took us to break. So how about that?
Good stuff.
Sorry, sponsors. So, Lorene, before we go, I'd love to hear, how are things going in Bermuda? Such a beautiful island, and how is it there now?
Oh, it's absolutely beautiful. We're heading into our winter months. For most people that may think that Bermuda is in the Caribbean, it is not. It is just below North Carolina in the Atlantic Ocean. 21 square miles, just about 65,000 people. So it's like a small town, but a very sophisticated one. It's a British overseas territory, and it's American influence. So it is a unique spot. A large portion of our economy is driven by international business. So we have very large organizations here. We have the top big four accounting firms, and we're known for insurance and reinsurance. We hit above our weight in that market. So it's a very beautiful island. It's a very sophisticated island, and it's definitely a great place to live and to work.
That's the word that comes to mind when I think of Bermuda. It's sophisticated.
Yes, it is.
Magnificent.
Yes.
So I'm very happy for you. It's beautiful.
Thank you. Good to be home.
That concludes our show for today. And Laureen, we have been streaming your information and also put it in the comments. But for people who are listening on the radio and they can't read the banner, I'm going to spotlight you again. Who should contact you, and what's the best way to reach you?
Okay, the very, very best way to reach me is on LinkedIn. I post quite regularly on there around etiquette and other professional development, career development. I touch on all topics. And you can reach me at lorene.phillips@BritishSchoolOfEtiquetteBermuda.com.
And if you just want to spell your last name, because there's different versions.
PHILLIPS.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Lorene, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. We look forward to having you back. You provided so much incredible content that I'm hoping people will start showing up in the most professional way possible.
Absolutely. That's our desire.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it. Bye, Philip.
Steve, love you, Steve.
Take care.
She's excellent, Philip. So much wonderful information, as I just mentioned. And I think it was your point, or I don't know if it was your point or her point, but about common sense. But we just forget about common sense in a lot of ways because we become inundated with things. So these are really good reminders and tools for people. Philip, what is the best way for people to sign up for courses and find out more about the British School of Excellence?
Great. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Just on that note, I think if we all as human beings start to slow down a little bit and become more self-aware, in other words, be present, be in the moment, that is going to help you with your life. That's going to help you with your relationships. It's going to help you with your business opportunities. Too many of us are doing too many things at one time. And so you miss out on so much. And I really urge all of you just to learn to slow down. And when you're engaging with someone, you're engaging with just that person. You don't have your phone around. You're literally present. You're focused. You're listening to understand. You're then responding accordingly, and you're really making that connection. This is what this is all about. Just going back to, that art of communication is so key, and that art of listening, the power of listening. Dr. Jacalyn, your courses are amazing. This is all tied in together. So for those of you out there who would like to get in touch, please feel free to email me at philip at thebritishschoolofexcellence.com, and that's Philip with one L, or you can reach out to us at hello@thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. And do take a look at our website, which is thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. It's been, as always, an absolute pleasure to be engaging with the audience, with all of you out there. Again, a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving, which was obviously yesterday, but I know the celebration continues into this wonderful weekend that you all hopefully got ahead of you. And I'm looking so forward to the next episode and the next show that we've got coming up.
As am I. Thank you so much, Philip. And to everybody out there, you can watch all of our shows. We typically have between 18 and 20 shows on USA Global TV. And you can go over to our YouTube channel, which is pretty easy to find, USA Global TV, and just click the little subscribe button, and then you'll be informed of all of our programming. All right, that's a wrap for today for the power of etiquette and manners. Philip and I will look forward to seeing you next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Love you to see you.
Bye.